Hello everyone, and welcome to my review of the very popular Audio-Technica ATH-M50x. Now, just to start off, yes, these are very popular headphones. If you go to Amazon Germany, Amazon France, UK, North America obviously, these are usually rated as the top selling headphones, above Beats, above anything like that. So I'd like to talk about why that might be, and who these are targeting, and what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are. So to start off, this is probably a 2-year-old release now. This is basically an update of the M50, also by Audio-Technica, and one of the changes they made was, I think they put more padding on these ear cups, and they put a removable cable, and I'll get to that in a minute. But for now, I just want to talk about the overall design and build quality. Well, these are plastic. There's a lot of plastic being used here. I mean, it's not the cheapest feeling plastic, but it is a little flimsy, a little bit. The ear cups themselves, yeah, I can see why. Okay, these ear cups, by the way, there's a huge market of people out there who want to replace these ear cups because they do get kind of like sweaty, and because these aren't like real leather or anything, they can get quite sweaty and sticky and uncomfortable basically over time. So what people do is they replace them usually with the Brainwaves HM5 pads, and I myself did this a few months ago. I got myself a pair of velour pads from HM5. I returned them the same day. The reason for this was that while these might be more uncomfortable, the bass response depends heavily on this. The HM5 pads, they completely changed the sound signature, made the bass quite thin and very unpleasing. Like, I'm not even much of a bass head, but it was just not going to do. I mean, it was way more comfortable, but it just wasn't going to do. So let's talk about the headband. The headband is kind of, there's not that much padding up here, but there's a little bit. You can see their logo up here, quite nice. Yeah, these are very foldable headphones. That's one of their strengths. Yeah, you can just do like this and throw them in the bag they come with, which I'll show you in a while. Foldable pair of headphones. You can. This is the adjustable. Alright, so let's talk about the improvement, one of the major improvements. Okay, here's the first cable, the one I've been primarily using. This is gold plated, and this is what most people will be using with this. Basically, it goes in here, and then you turn it to the right, snaps in place. Now it's cabled. So yeah, like this cable is what most people are going to be using. It's very useful for using MP3 players and stuff, and it's just basically like doesn't tangle very easily and just stays out of the way when you're walking around. Like, you really don't want a non-detachable like 10-foot cable when you want to go outside with something. So yeah, you remove it again, and this is the pouch it comes with. The Audio-Technica, I'm not sure what this material is, maybe another pleather pouch, yeah. And it comes with another 2 pair of removable cables. This one is a lot longer, as you can see, and it's also coiled. So this coiled cable is the other one I've been using, usually for when I'm recording music and stuff. So this is like very convenient, because you know, coiled cables are pretty badass. So let's and the other cable, which I haven't even opened, is the same length as this, but a very long straight cable. So I'll just put that back in here, and put this back in here, and you don't need to talk much about this anymore. So yeah, so the M50X. These are, like I said, very, very popular headphones, but within the so-called audiophile community, they are quite a little controversial these days from what I can see on our headphones and head-fi and stuff. Basically, people's gripes with this is that it's supposedly marketed as a studio monitor, and even I thought of that when I bought these, and it's supposed to be very neutral and yeah, just great, accurate, representation of what you're recording when you're recording music or audio or whatever. No, not really. The bass in this is a little boosted. It doesn't overall feel as neutral as it should be, or as they say it should be. So I was a little disappointed with that aspect. But for music listening though, these are quite good. But that also depends on other factors, like if I go outdoors with these headphones on, if I'm on the bus, if I'm walking down the street, if there's a lot of ambient noise, it does seep in. Like, these are closed headphones, but they don't cancel outside noise that well. Like, of course they're not noise cancelling or anything, but they don't seal that tight and do that anyway. And if you use the velour pads, it's even less. So these have the disadvantages of a closed pair of headphones, and like the sound stage isn't that great, for instance, but they don't have the advantages of a closed back headphones, that is sound isolation. It's not that much. And one of the biggest gripes that I have with that, the sound isolation problem, if I go outdoors, is that the bass, it disappears. It's very strange, actually. I can't understand it completely, but when I'm outside with these headphones, and yeah, tight seal around my head, make sure of that, the bass just leaves. It just goes. I don't know. It's so thin, and then the overall sound signature becomes quite tinny, and some music gets really painful and sibilant, and you really don't enjoy it. So going outdoors with these, I would not recommend it. Yeah, I'd keep it in, the house or the room or whatever. You don't want to go outdoors with these. But how do they sound indoors, quiet environment? Well, when I bought these, my primary headphones were a DT990 600 ohm Beyerdynamic set of headphones, and those are very V-shaped. So my first impression when I got these, when I put them on, was, whoa, vocals sound a lot more clear, a lot more pushed forward to my face, or to my ears rather, and instrument separation feels a lot more accurate than they were on the DT990. While the DT990's strengths with the sparkly highs, I mean, if you could call that a strength, sometimes it gets quite harsh, and the bass on those was incredible. However, on this, even though I said earlier it isn't that neutral, it did feel a lot more neutral, but still not enough to be advertised as studio monitors, like accurate studio monitors. Like, I'm sure there's more in Audio-Technica's line that goes up further, maybe, because this is usually around $150. Like, I don't usually like saying prices, but $150, I've seen it on sale on Black Friday for $99, stuff like that. But around this price range, these are pretty good. If you want, if you're in a quiet environment, if you want basic recording equipment, like you don't want to spend too much, or you don't care too much about the most accurate sound possible, then you can go for these, definitely. I mean, those 3 cables, you can have a mic stand on the other side of the room if you're in a dorm, for instance, and you want to record music, and you can have that really long cable all the way back there, and you can record on your computer all the way here on the desk. So yeah, that's a great factor. And you can use a small cable to just take it out, or, well, not take it out, but just use it with your MP3 player and stuff. So these aren't really high in the ohms department. I can play them quite easily with my FIO X1. Really, they get driven easily with your phone, anything. Even if you have like a first generation iPod, anything will drive these. That's fine. But now, the other factor about the sound quality that I want to talk about is that when I got, let's say for example, another pair of portable so-called headphones, the DT1350, I realized just how much I was missing out on this, when I was using this actually, the bass extension doesn't go that low. It's quite rolled off. Even though I did say the bass is boosted, it's the mid bass that's boosted. It doesn't extend very much. The bass itself isn't very pleasing. Like if you go to those bass test videos on YouTube and you look at the comments, and they usually have people bragging about how their neighbors hate them now because their subwoofers are blowing up, or you'll always find someone who says, I'm listening to this on my ATH-M50x, sounds amazing. Well, not really. It doesn't sound that amazing. I mean, maybe they don't know any better, but it doesn't sound that great. Mids, absolutely, I think the mids are quite good. For this price range, they are quite good. They're not very lifelike, but they push towards you, and you can listen to vocal music quite nicely on this. The highs are a little sibilant, definitely. Like I told you, when I go outdoors with these, the sound signature changes quite a bit. It becomes quite tinny. Like it removes removes the lows and a little bit of the lower mids, and you're just left with the upper sound, and it's just so painful. So, to sum it up, would I recommend these to someone? I don't know. I think there could be better options. Like, if it depends, I guess it really does depend on the music you listen to. Because recently a cousin of mine asked me for advice in this price range of what headphones to buy. I recommended V-Modas, which are V-shaped, because of the music he listens to, electronic, rap, and stuff like that. However, these have the advantage of the cups are quite big compared to other portable. Like they are slightly over the air, but however they don't feel that comfortable, according to not just me but many people. Like that's why the ATH-M5 pads are so popular, along with these, to replace the pads. I must admit the pads are the pads are very easily replaceable, so that is definitely a plus. Like good on. Like I have an HE400i, and it's just a mess to try and take off the pads for that. So yeah, good for them for that. Overall, would I recommend it? I guess, but I would definitely run other options by someone first, and I would try to understand what exactly they need them for recording. Like I said, if you're a small-time recording guy starting out, or girl, you can just try these out, and the long cable is definitely a plus. But if you just want music to listen with, I think you could spend a little bit more and get a Beyerdynamic 1350. Or if you want, you can go for the V-Modas. But yeah. So thank you for watching my review, and I'll see you next time.